shirt down. Great Rising, y'all. Great Rising. Thanks for coming on the walk. Like, comment, share. I'm walking, y'all. Tell an uncle, tell an auntie, tell a cousin, tell a friend. But if you're coming on the walk and using this time to exercise, I try to cut out the notifications, but what can I do? Get your mat, get your chair. Yes, that's the marvelous, wonderful, fantastic Mr. Ron Jackson on guitar. And it makes my morning. Because y'all, I'm about to give up. This festival is something. Getting prepared for it is something. Okay, a lot of you walk along, get your weights, etc., etc. Whew. Sister slept. I usually only be able to sleep, well, when I'm working on projects. Only about 4 hours. And I can tell when the project is complete. I have to sleep 6 hours. Sorry, y'all, but my mouth is so dry. I cannot sleep 6 hours. See? Happy Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth. Yes. So, the project is done. I uploaded the Pawn Moves First podcast I have. You can find it on Spotify. You can find it on my page on the YouTube. You can find it on his own page on YouTube entitled The Pawn Moves First. You can find it on my Facebook page, Neighbors TV. And so that's why I was able to sleep those 2 extra hours. It was wonderful. So, happy Juneteenth, y'all. So I'm still a little stiff and all that stuff. All that raspberry castles. Whew. But happy Juneteenth. I was vibing with the ancestors because this is a guy on TikTok, very smart young man, and he talks about the history of how we came to be here. And when I first watched him, I was on board. I was on board, all the way to the part about the Moors. Because it brings me back to Africans in America theme park. When I was researching and the concept and everything, blah, 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 the bowels of the library, the bowels of the Schomburg. Whew, yeah. I, of course, came across the history of the Moors. And, yeah, I know. Just like like on the continent of Africa, different African countries war against one another all the time. But what the Moors did when they civilized Europe, when the other Africans nations started coming over, like they want to get their piece. You know, the Egyptian came over. That's why you got them, I'll say Hebrews. I won't say those those tribes out of Central Europe. I'll call it the, no, they call them the Jews. That's where they got that from. See, everybody was trying to get a piece of Europe out of the continent of Africa. Because you can jump in a boat and just go right over there. They wasn't in Europe. They wasn't doing nothing but fighting each other, breaking out each other's skulls, and the same things they do up in the hills and the hollows now. And they was like, no. They started fighting each other, and that's why I raised my daughter. I was like, you know what? I said, don't talk bad about your aunt. Don't disgrace your aunt. Always hold your own up. And I said that with Bill Cosby when he was sitting there, and the young black man, he running around raping people. I knew it was going to work out well for him. Because I said, you stop attacking the race. It ain't going to work out good for you. And it didn't. Look at that other African guy. He went on saying, this is not his exact words, but I'd rather die before I date African Americans. So a white woman killed him. Don't talk bad about the race, especially the African race. It don't work out. And it didn't work out for the Moors. So while we was busy fighting one another because they should have just let the other African countries come over, everybody get a little piece of Europe. No. They had to kick down the ladder behind them and guard it. So then they started fighting the other African nations that was coming over in ships. And then the Europeans started fighting them. And here we are on this penal colony. Hey! Thanks for coming on the walk. My name is Vicki, and I'm coming to you live from this penal colony, a.k.a. America, a.k.a. USA. So, it's just hard for me, y'all. It's hard for me to I'm trying to find the words. And it's even so hard, I can't even find the words. Once you know you're on a penal colony, all right, let's take it to the brick and mortar prison, remember? They're the ones that taught me through Plato's Republic and his story, how you look at the individual as like the honesty, the da-da-da-da, I can't remember the exact words now, I'm tired, y'all. But, look at it and then you can see the state of the nation or the city or whatever. So, let's go into brick and mortar. You don't have to tell the truth to inmates and criminals. You don't. That's why a lot of them now can get lawyers and stuff like that and dig out the truth, but they don't have to. They're inmate criminals. They're in there because they have committed some kind of crime or broke some kind of law, and they're inmate criminals. Now remember, that's the brick and mortar. So they don't got to tell them the truth. They're inmate criminals. They don't have to, they'll give them health care, but they don't have to give them good health care because, why? They're inmate criminals. Now, come out the brick and mortar, come on this penal colony. Lie to us all the time. All the time. We couldn't learn English because our brains were smaller. No. We couldn't be educated because our brains was too small. Then we couldn't, oh shoot, what was that other one? Oh, we couldn't speak English because the thickness of our tongues made it impossible to speak like Europeans. Oh. That's why they break our toes and lay them straight. And they call them hammer toes. I done had hammer toes for 65 years. They all right for me. But they say something wrong with them. Oh gosh. So many things on this penal colony. But they don't have to tell the truth to the blood and born inmate criminals, because our ancestors were brought here to this penal colony 600, probably over, as prisoners of war. Now, according to the young man, and it has been stated, that this is all the fault of the Moor, who originated the penal colonies. We'll stop right there, because they got 8. So you see, it ain't work good for them. Don't go against your race. Stop it. It don't work out good for you. If you want to use an example, you could use the Moors. There was other, Ghana, everybody, Ethiopia. I don't think it was Nigeria. It was called something. They were warriors. They were mariners. And Europe was sitting there digging in its nose. Now, I know according to them, they take everything and throw it on the Romans. But that's his story. That's his story. The reality, and of course you'd have to go and look in the European archives. Spain just finally confessed to it, being ruled by the Moors. Portugal, I don't know if they'll ever. They said in the basement of the Brits, but it's just for the elite. And that's why King Charles had a fit when his son married Meghan, because it may only be 1/4, but to him in the history, they remember the Moors. He feels as a king to have those kids in that palace, though they were in there, this little boy, is almost like saying the Moors are back. And of course, Harry knew that. That's the kind of history they're taught. We don't get that history. We got to dig for that history. And I dug. Now, because I ain't have a professor tell me to dug, and I ain't have no intellectual blonde hair, blue-eyed tell me to dug, I dug because I wanted to know, and no one could tell me, no one would tell me. They acted like they didn't know how I got on this mess, this land mass. I had to find out myself. I didn't need to get an assignment. So, okay, we're outside the penal colony now. I mean, we're outside the brick and mortar. We're in the penal colony. So they lie all the time. Now, in the prisons and stuff, they experiment on all the time. They experiment on them all the time. They don't have to say, okay, in the brick and mortar prisons, they don't have to say, we want to experiment on you. We like to experiment on you. on. Some of them do it as a courtesy. Would you do it? Would you take it? A lot of them use it as a bargaining chip. You do this scientific experiment, you're allowed to blah, blah, blah. But a lot of times, they don't have to be told when they're being experimented on. Now come out the brick and mortar and come on the penal colony. Same here. Same here. For 30 years, I was told that if I sat in a dentist chair without being pre-medicated, the germs that they released from cleaning my teeth would go into my heart and I would die. Then 30 years later, they came back and said, who? Was we joking? We was joking. That was the medical profession that okayed that. It was the pharmaceutical company and the dentist. So, we didn't know it was an experiment. So that's what I'm telling you. I know this is a penal colony. Just look at what's going on in the brick and mortar prisons and look here for us African Americans. Now for you white people, it ain't like that. Y'all special God thing, and then y'all with the chosen thing, and then the other thing with the superior thing. So y'all don't gotta worry about that. Your brains don't work the way like our brains work. We are labeled inmate criminals. So we fight the label because it's bullshit by very ignorant people who don't even know the basis of the label. Y'all get some water. Let's groove. They cut me up a Jill, I'm just a nose. This reminds me of the times. Trying to save my feet and toes. Yeah. Yeah. I said I'm walking, y'all. Trying to stay ahead of the sugar cane. Finger snapping time. If I stop walking, y'all, the king love that guitar. Yeah. Come on with me. Yeah. Save your feet and toes. Hey, like, comment, share. Tell Uncle, tell Auntie, tell a cousin, tell a friend. Come on with me. Save your feet and toes. Cause if I stop walking now, I walk, y'all. Exercise, y'all. Just a nose. Yeah. Come on with me. And save your toes. Save your toes. Save your feet. Yeah. I said, come on with me. Save your toes and feet. Yeah. Cause when you walk with me, let's walk. Hey, Marilyn. Hey, Diane. I'm old. I'm walking on. Trying to my cousin Terry. Yeah. I said I'm walking now. Trying to save my feet and toes. Cause if I stop walking now, they'll cut me up until I'm just a nose. Yeah. Let's finish this walk. Yes. Oh, I love that song. I love it. It motivates me. And I know people who don't like to be motivated will hate it. Okay. All right, wait a minute.
Profoundly effective.
See? Oh. Okay, here we go.
I realized this was where it really was.
Okay, I have to fast forward you.
Give them something that they were born with, just like I was born with. Entitled to it the same way I was entitled with it.
All right, now we have to fast forward through the dramatic pauses. Here we go. Sorry, y'all.
For some, it was the first time anyone wanted to know about their lives as slaves. The society around them had given them the impression that being a former slave was something to be ashamed of, something not to be talked about.
Exactly.
Today we need to hear their stories. For how can you know how far you have come if you don't know where you started? Langston Hughes speaks so eloquently in his poem Mother to Son about what the experience of the elders means to their descendants. Life for me ain't been no crystal stair. It's had tacks in it and splinters, and bolts torn up, and places with no carpet on the floor, bare. But all the time I've been a climbing on and reaching landings and turning corners. And sometimes going in the dark where there ain't been no light. So boy, don't you turn back. Don't you sit down on the steps 'cause you find it's kind of hard. Don't you fall now. For I'll still going, honey. I'll still climbing.
Even he didn't know.
And life for me.
Or he wouldn't say it.
Ain't been no crystal stair.
They wouldn't say this is a Peter poem.
When you come to Baldwin, you know when? You don't remember when Garfield died, do you? When they shot Garfield? No, I don't think you were born.
I don't think there was.
I come to Baltimore that year. I worked for a man by the name of Reed when I first come to Baltimore. I commenced to haul manure for him. The old horses was here then. No electric car, no cable car, they were all horse cars. And I used to haul manure, go around different stables, everybody had horses.
Did you ever think you'd ever see the automobile? No. I never did think I never did see the automobile. I heard talk of them. I heard my husband talk of them. He went north with a herd of bees for some white folks, and he seen them like that.
And then they put on a cable car, what they call cable car. Well, they run them for a little while, maybe a couple of 3 years or 4 years. Then somebody invented the electric car, that first one on North Avenue. Well, that run a while, kept on inventing until they got them all different kinds of cars.
He didn't know. It was us inventing,
I just can't.
having to go to the patent company.
I just can't think of.
And they putting their name on it and putting it in.
Well, I don't know to tell you the truth.
They still doing it.
I don't know how
It's a penal colony. Even our intellectual intelligence does not belong to us.
But still, thankful to the Lord.
Okay. You can't do that. Ooh, honey. They would strike me. Let's see.
Visit our website at www.pri.
No, I paid for this. I don't have to publicize for you. Y'all keep going now. I remember when I got them from the library, I remember the tapes being so much longer. How long was I? It seemed like it was so much. Okay, let's see. Y'all keep walking. And we're back. I noticed.
This program contains sensitive language and content.
Okay.
PRI, Public Radio International.
Remembering Slavery is made possible by major grants from the National Endowment for the Humanities, dedicated to expanding American understanding of human experience.
I told y'all I found this in the Greenwich, Connecticut, at that time, the richest town on this penal colony. We're not doing weights
We were
today.
saved.
I don't got it.
We belong to people.
See, the white folks would have church in the morning, then they let the colored people have church at their church and leave.
You're slaves.
When slave time, I can remember when the Yankees.
That's when it was easy for them to control. Then they took everything out that book of fiction that y'all run around with, and it made sure honor. The Lord said, slaves honor your master. The Lord said, if your master tell you to lay down and open your legs and you don't, then God is going to get you. The Lord said, slaves listen to the master. So even if the master take the kids that he the daddy of, it will, you don't do it, then the Lord is going to get you. If the master go after your child, and you don't let him take your little boy and do what he want with it, the Lord is going to come down and get you and electrify you.
But he said he couldn't get the orphans of it. That to belong to folks that own your soul and body, and they can tie you up to a tree with your face to the tree.
Can you
and
imagine?
fast and tight round.
Can you imagine?
Long pulling, whipping,
Can you
cut the
imagine?
blood.
On Guantanamo Bay,
Trusting was the only hope for the
say
black critters in them days.
the first people who blew up the World Trade Center is over at Guantanamo Bay. Then the second people
was interviewed by an
and all that.
of the federal.
Now say they're having children,
Beginning in the late 1930s, interviewers
and they have the children, their children stay on Guantanamo Bay.
In this program, dramatic readings of some of the
And then their children, and then their children's children, and their children's children so far that nobody remembers how the hell they got to be prisoners on Guantanamo Bay. And then when they did, they turn around and say, what?
You will also hear
600 years ago?
historical recordings that
My ancestors blew up the World Trade Center, and y'all have kept us enslaved and working for free and treating us like shit for something from 600 years ago?
What it was like to be a slave no more.
My name is Hampton Hughes. I was born in Charlottesville, Virginia.
Where my
My
mother was born,
grandfather
Virginia.
followed the Thomas
Ooh,
steps.
that
My
penal colony.
grandfather
Ooh.
was 115 years old when he died. And now I am 101 years old. That's it.
You just go ahead and talk away there. You don't mind, do you? Who did you work for, Uncle Phil?
Who did I work for?
Yeah.
You mean when I was a slave?
Yeah, when you were a slave, who did you work for?
Who you work for? Like he had a choice. You see, they still ignorant.
Business.
Well,
When I was a slave, my mother belonged to
what plantation did you go to volunteer to work and starve?
Because he was afraid he'd have to go to war. But now, in them days, you could hire a substitute to take your place.
See how they
You
was?
couldn't get a substitute to take his place, so he ran away from home. And he took
We go to war, even now. No, back during the Vietnam War.
And then,
Them rich people was paying to get these children out of that war and sending us in there like it was the right thing to do.
Rolled all the firewood in the river and broke the stove, sold all the meat out in the street, sold all the sugar out. And we bought it, pick it up and carry, give it to the missus and master. young master to come to you.
Well,
I don't know how, I don't know, to tell you the truth. When I think of it today, I don't know how I'm living.
101-year-old Fountain Hughes had lived through some of the most trying times in American history. So did Mary Barber. She was 81 years old when she was interviewed in Raleigh, North Carolina. Actress, director, choreographer, and producer Miss Debbie Allen
Debbie Allen.
interpreted responses of Mary
Oh.
Barber.
But one of the first things that I remember was my pappy waking me up in the middle of the night, dressing me in the dark. All the time telling me to keep quiet, quiet. When the twins hollered some and Pat put his hand over his mouth to keep it quiet. And after he was dressed, he went outside and peeked around for a minute, then he came back and got us. And we even sneaked out the house and along the wood path. Pappy took one of the twins and holding me by the hand and Mammy carried
You're
the
right.
first. I reckon I will always remember that walk with the bushes slapping my legs and the wind seemed to be just sighing in the trees. And
They told that lie. Oh, they like being enslaved.
I was half asleep.
These ignorant people. Stop calling them racist. You're giving them credit. They just hating with the hate. They just going along with the get along.
Quilt at the bottom of the wagon and
They're not bigots. They would have to know enough to make choices. They just follow in the crowd.
Oh, I sure was sleepy. I sure was scared too. And we ride along, I listened to Pappy and Mary talk. And Pappy's telling Mary about the Yankees.
It's not. When you say you're fourth, or you lying dogs, because you're free from England. If that was the case, then my ancestors would have been free too, because they were enemies of England at one point.
But the more we think about running away from our master, the scared we get to them rebs. Anyhow, Pappy said that we is going to join the Yankees. Well, we about to travel all night and hid in the woods all day for
I remember when my mother left Virginia to come north to the Yankees. She didn't realize she was on a penal planet, a colony. She didn't realize it. It didn't matter where she ran. It was the same thing. Because the ignorance, they don't know. They didn't know the history. Because they would have showed some respect. But they don't know the history. They just know. How they say, keeping up with the Joneses, if you have that, that's all they know. When I was in playwriting, screenplay, all of them, they said, this formula works, stick with this formula. This thing works, stick with this. Stick with this, stick with this. And instead of being creative when you didn't stick with it, now if you was white and you didn't stick with it, you was creative. If you was black and didn't stick with it, well, it's because you couldn't learn it. You really couldn't understand it.
At that time, the rebels were trying to take Washington.
That, the baby song,
1937, when William I.
He
Jackson
takes
Jr. was interviewed.
the violins,
At the time,
and makes it a beat.
97-year-old
He
retired
takes that
building
cello
contractor.
for the mellow,
Davis brings the transcript.
and then he raps all over that. I know you may not like what he's saying, but I'm telling you, the way he used those strings instruments, like a bass drum, or a bass guitar, or a bass beat. But it's the cellos and the violins.
They told us that we gotta change this.
Now they don't like it. They call that this animal music, but you can't see the genius of it. You can't see that. You have to enjoy music to understand it. It's ingenious. I can't think of the song right now.
You will
Oh.
always be slaves.
Shake something.
These words
But you gotta look deeper.
we
into the music and how,
5 of them.
but you see in the white world, oh, that's Jello Belly music. That's everything.
Of
No.
course, the rebel pickets knew we were servants and pain. They probably thought we were going to run an errand.
He didn't follow your formula. That's it, Joe. That's it, Joel. I think they have a remembering slavery somewhere. Y'all should buy it. You should have it in your home along with other stuff. Hey, y'all, hold on a minute. Let me show you. I meant to show y'all that. Don't go nowhere. Stay here. Stay here. Don't go nowhere. One of the things about African American theme park was that you could get all, that everyone should always have some kind of African art, structure, or something in their home. Some people have small African, but this my ex gave my daughter. She knows the history behind it. And we always have something. So that's what was African American theme park. So you can come to the theme park, get all your good vibe and positive to take you up a notch. We're on this penal colony. These people are ignorant. They hating you from something that your ancestors did 600 years ago. Not, you ain't ran over their dog. You ain't blow up the World Trade Center. You ain't blow up a government building. You ain't put all that fentanyl, release all that fentanyl. You ain't make the Oxycontin. But still, they are so ignorant. They hate you above the ones who made the Oxycontin. Blew up the World Trade Center. Blew up the government building. Pedophiles. They love more than us. And you say, why? Why do you hate African Americans? Well, everybody's doing it. Because the criminal, well, white guy next door to you, he's a bank robber. Oh, he's not black. That's the level of ignorance you're dealing with. So you got to keep your good vibes up and your good positive vibes up. And you can't put, this is a penal colony. They are allowed to lie to us. That's in those Cross and Bone secret society organizations. And as I said, in those rich communities, because our warden, the executive branch, the warden over the executive branch of government, is in the state of Connecticut at rich people's house that are paying $250,000, I think I heard that correct, a plate. He's a warden. They're going to pay him because he's going to say, listen, I'm going to make sure them folks don't never get no reparations. And that's the oath that the wardens have to make. They ain't going to get nothing. We're going to step on them until, but we got to make an oath to the ancestors that we're going to put a kibosh, we're going to let the truth come out, and we're going to stop this BS. This is a penal colony. So Warden Biden, Joe Biden, is doing a fundraiser, $250,000 a plate. So tell me, who's going to give him that? Someone who wants to make sure that we stay where we are, get no reparations, no breaks, and nothing else. Everything that y'all think benefits us, no, it benefits them more, and it trickles down to us. This is a penal colony, and we're labeled blood and born inmate criminals because what our ancestors did over 600 years ago. That level of ignorance, only fire can burn that. Fire got to burn that up. Like, comment, share, tell an uncle, tell an auntie, tell a cousin, tell a friend. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you on Juneteenth. Thank you.